Calvary greetings, viewers. My name is Pastor Chaukura. I'm going to present on midlife crisis. There are several crises that people undergo through in their development. Adolescence is also a crisis in young people, but we're not going to deal on that one. There is a curve of life. The curve of life, according to psychologists, they say, when you are young, the teenage years, young people, before they get married, they have the happiest moments in life and they should take advantage of that. King Solomon wrote in chapter 11 of Ecclesiastes, dealing with joy and taking advantage of that time of our development. And then the later years of life, after retirement, those are also happiest years if you would have done the best of your preparedness. However, the midlife years from 35 up to 40, those are the unhappiest years of life. I want to look at Psalm 90, verse 10 and 12, and also 1 Timothy chapter 6, verse 6. The length of our days is 70 years. Or 80, if we have the strength. Yet their span is but trouble and sorrow, for they quickly pass and we fly away. Verse 12, teach us to number our days aright, that we may gain a heart of wisdom. That's the key. Teach us to calibrate our days very well, so that we can have a heart of wisdom. The conclusion of the matter in our presentation comes from 1 Timothy 6. But godliness with contentment is great gain. Godliness with contentment is great gain. We are supposed to be content, and that will give us greatness and contentment in godly aspects, in godly relationships, in godly lifestyles. So, what is midlife crisis? We are going to look at the definition of terms. And how do you determine that someone is going through midlife crisis? Number 3, what are the effects of midlife crisis to yourself and to the other person? And also, what are the solutions? How are we going to deal with midlife crisis? I have discovered that the young man of 33, Alexander the Great, he conquered the world and failed to conquer his life. He failed to conquer something within him. He failed to control himself. I wanted to find out what crisis could that be. And then in the Bible, we look at Samson, the heavyweight Nazarene. Samson, the macho man, he conquered everyone, the Philistines, but failed to conquer his personality, his character, the weaknesses which were surrounding him. He was also at midlife crisis time. We would also look at King Solomon. I think he also went through this type of crisis. David, the king, at 33 he was king. He was also a poet at 33. He had conquered almost everything around him. He failed to conquer the character that was somehow disturbing him in there. Midlife crisis is a crisis of identity. A crisis of identity, a crisis of self-confidence. Some say you fail to understand yourself. At age 33, ladies get into this crisis. Not all ladies, not all men get into this crisis, but some, most of them according to research. There is no empirical evidence that everyone undergoes midlife crisis. However, we discover that ladies get in there earlier than men. At 33, at 35, men they pass through midlife crisis. They begin at 35, and this is middle of their lifespan. The Bible says in Psalm 90 verse 10, our years are 70. And when you are at 35, you're almost halfway. And when you are halfway, you begin to calculate the balance of your time on earth. If you are at 35 and you look at you have achieved, how you have achieved, and what is left with the time and what is supposed to be achieved with the time, the balance of time left, then a crisis of identity sets in. Crisis, that's an emotional crisis as well. Normally, people undergo this crisis, they would have finished going through their dreams, they would have achieved. If they were, doing a degree, they would have had the second degree, and if they have been at work, they would have got promoted up there, and their identity, they are like if he or she was doing finance, they would have achieved the highest echelons in finance. If they were a pastor, they would have got all whatever, they would have gone through all the kinds of districts set up, and or maybe if they would have gone through their theological degrees and qualifications, they would have achieved a level of identity and recognition according to set standards in that discipline. Therefore, they would be asking questions. Is this what I have been trying to achieve? Telic approach, putting value in a project at the end of it. That's the telic approach. They would be approaching life as a project. If I am a physician and I have my place, my offices, and I'm running my own entity, I would have achieved. That's a telic approach, putting value in the end result. So there sometimes come in a challenge where you feel an emptiness. Have I now achieved? My children are already in university or they are almost there. And what next? Then a crisis set in. When this crisis sets in, how do you really identify that someone is going through a crisis of identity, a crisis of emotion, a crisis of self-confidence? Number one, the symptoms of depression, they are the ones that set in. You begin to feel unhappy about the hobbies and things that you were very much excited about when you were growing up to that 35-year or 33-year stage. You begin to feel an emptiness. So what? You begin to ask yourself many, many questions. Therefore, why this? And what about this? Why did I get this channel or this career type line and not that one? Can I begin another one? That's when you see people, some begin to get into another discipline. If they're in finance, they begin to go into health, or they begin to venture into this one. They sometimes miss on the life that is left to them. They will not calculate as to, am I gonna finish this within the time left? And the children are going to school. They are also going to school. That's a real crisis. Ladies begin to compete with young girls in terms of attire, outlook. They begin to have a romantic atmosphere. At age 35 to 39, some say this is the age of female infidelity. They begin to look outside their home if they are married. They begin to question themselves. They look at themselves. They take a lot of unnecessary time and energy and resources trying to make up and shape up and begin to look young again. They wish to feel young and romantic again, like the times when they were getting to courtship stage. This is a crisis. If you see your wife competing with the children for beauty and for whatever makeup and to look smashingly beautiful, and that is a sign of a crisis. Another sign, you see they begin to compete, the competition part of it, and they are jealous about those who are doing well. They become jealousy with everything, everybody, and they think they should have the first preference in everything. That's a sign, another sign of a crisis. There is a lot of headache, stress within themselves, in their system. There is also lack of sleep, sleeplessness. And another sign, there is abrupt expenditure without planning. They spend, or they can sell an item, an asset, without really going through the considerations with their spouse, or without searching the advantages, the pros and cons. That's another sign of a crisis. Midlife crisis sets in. If it's a man, they begin to feel like boys again. They put on shorts. They want to enjoy life as if they are beginning to realize something new. There's another new lifestyle that they think they can enjoy. That's a crisis. They begin to question doctrines that they have enjoyed before, if they are religious. They begin to ask a lot of questions, challenge the norm, the normal way of life. That's a crisis. They begin to try other avenues, and they want to show that they really are still young and energetic and can achieve even another new marriage. And that's the time when some men begin to realize, wow, I am also very much marketable. And for men, they begin to be like young men. And if they stand before the mirror, they view themselves, if I remove this beard and mustache, I can begin to love again another one. So we better take care of men between 35 and 40 and 50, 35 to 50. At work, they get promoted and a lot of attention is brought to them. Then they begin to have a ha type of situation. Oh, I am also like this. Oh, I can be recognized like this. Oh, so let me try this. And a lot of attention is brought to them, and ladies begin to what? To be attracted to this kind of person. He has no more stressors. The children have gone to university, to college, and they are doing and he alone, whether with his wife and the maid or few relatives in the home, they enjoy life. They begin to enjoy their monies, and he would want to explore new horizons. That's a crisis. So the effects, number one, spouses begin to undermine each other's authority. They fail to respect each other like before. They begin to challenge their acquaintances, their relatives, and the norm. They begin to explore other ways of living. Let's try this. Why are we not doing this? And they want change. They really want to change. And that change also affects their relationship. They no longer want to be excited with their lover. They no longer are happy with their normal way of life. So the other effect is that they begin to have new friends, new acquaintances, and new ways of life to sort of show and prove that you are not very important. Even if you don't do this, I have an alternative. There are several alternatives that they try. That one is another very negative effect. You realize in church, there are many who jostle for positions. These people would want to self-actualize even in church, because they would be losing identity out there, and they want to show in church, or they join new clubs, social clubs. They are involved and consumed in new time-consuming activities, or they begin to write books, or they begin to enjoy farming, or they begin to do this, or they begin to enjoy soccer or volleyball or golf. Yeah. Now, what to do to avoid midlife crisis or to deal with it amicably? If you see that your husband is undergoing midlife crisis, it's best you bring an elderly kind of maid who is beyond the age or in later years, because the temptation of having ladies around who can compete for attention with you as the mother and wife of the home, that one is risky. So you better change your maid, you better change the gardener, and because mommy would be also trying other avenues. This is the time when you have cases in the church of infidelity and unchastity. They will behave like young boys and girls again. Take care of your spouse. Phone him, phone her. Where are you? Are you doing fine? How are you? You better be closer by and monitor their movements better than before. How to do with midlife crisis, the challenge. Zoom on your partner, have time together, quality time together, check on their goals and their dreams, how far they've gone with them, and how best you can assist in trying to uplift them and achieve. This is the time when you need to have parties, birthday parties for your spouse, a lot of attentions, so that he or she remains alert and recognized, and also the identity crisis is taken care of. Many a times we are like having a center type of spirit. We should be looking at the negative, the mistakes they do. Wing at their mistakes and also cultivate an admiration kind of approach, admire them, and also affect them with a lot of surprises. This is the time when you see they begin to put their accolades on the walls, the achievements. You also recognize them through the achievements and uplift them somehow, support them, so that it becomes an honorable history that they are building, and put the beacons of achievements clearly and also distinctly, so that they can be viewed by people who come into the home. Talk much about their achievements and puff them up so that they get some satisfaction somehow. Then finally, 1 Timothy 6 verse 6 says, godliness with contentment. If Alexander the Great was given a godly character to assist him, to show him his achievements, and also anoint him or inaugurate him, and begin to motivate him for another shift in his goals, Alexander the Great would have conquered himself, and he would have conquered his weaknesses. If someone would have mentored this Samson, this Nazarene heavyweight 7 dreadlocked guy, if somebody would have come to King Solomon and be like a mentor and be like a close brother or a shoulder to lean on, if someone would have been like an Ahithophel to David, that time would have helped the day. So we need a mentor, a social supporter, somebody who is close to us, who knows our history, and who is like a mother, who is like a father figure, somebody who really is not jealousy about our achievement, who is really concerned with our success, that person must be close by to nurture us, to direct us and redirect us and re-engineer us and refocus us. 1 Timothy 6:6 says, godliness with contentment is gain. We must be atelic in terms of looking at the value of life rather than telic. Atelic, it means we enjoy the process. It's like you are farming, you enjoy the planting, you enjoy the weeding, you enjoy the harvest, not really getting the money out of the harvest. If you are after the money out of the harvest, after the harvest, you are like a telic person. You really want the achievement, the project. When you harvest, you sit, you begin again. So if you enjoy the process, it makes sense. If you enjoy driving and you are working as a driver, even if you retire, you continue driving your car. If you enjoy soccer and you are playing soccer in your youth, you enjoy continuing playing it even outside competition. That's a telic approach. It's a solution. Enjoy writing like I do. I write just to express myself, to spread the gospel, to affect some person so that they can change and be a better citizen. I enjoy, even without getting monies out of that, I enjoy writing. Even after retiring, I continue writing. That's a better approach to life. This is a solution. You should move away from a project-centered person to a process-centered person who values the process and you enjoy it so much that you pass through this valley of midlife crisis. After all, it's only 5 to 10 years and you're out of it and you enjoy the other final aspect of life, the later years. And in the later years, make sure your social network is healthy. Make sure your finances are healthy. Make sure your health is okay. And then you take care of those three: the finances, the social network, and your physical, emotional, mental, and social being. Then that's it. You are above it, you go over it, and you pass through. Many people are suffering in the valley of unhappiness in the midlife crisis. They forget who they are, they forget where they are going, they forget to number their days, they forget to calibrate what is left, they forget to re-engineer their lives. So may God bless you as you are going to look at this kind of crisis, whether you are in it or you are still younger than 33 or you are after it. You can assist someone. God bless you. Amen.